Growing up during the late 1970s, I always loved all comic books, you name it, I read it. I always loved DC and Marvel comics, and I also love anime and manga. I was always fond of Fist of the North Star, and I always wanted to be Kenshiro, but one day when I was watching my favorite anime at home in my apartment, I was watching Fist of the North Star, then a bullet flew through my wall and hit me in the forehead. I was just another unfortunate accident of an innocent man living in a bad neighborhood. I live in Chicago, and there's a lot of criminals in Chicago, and I lived in the bad part of Chicago for many years, and over the years I learned everything about how to defend myself and survive, but that still didn't save me from accidentally catching a bullet right after I died. Since I'm an innocent man that always did his best in life to never do anything wrong, I went straight to heaven, and I was granted special privileges. God allowed me to be reborn as a powerful human, and I was reborn in the MCU universe of Marvel as Kenshiro with all his abilities, and I was also reborn with all the abilities of the Dragonball characters, and I was even gifted the Infinity Gamer system, and the screen popped up as soon as I was reborn. It said, "Congratulations, you have been reborn in the World Marvel MCU universe, and you have leveled to Infinity Level 1. You now have all the abilities of the most powerful mutants from X-Men, along with the X-Gene and the ability to copy anyone's powers, no matter how powerful or how strong they are. And since my father was Japanese and half white, he and my white American mother named me Kenshiro. When I was reborn, every god-like being could feel my immense powers. At a very young age, I was sent to the Shaolin Temple, where I was taught their ways for many years, and it was there that I met the man that taught me everything about the ancient martial arts known as Hakuto Shinken. So not only did I learn Hakuto Shinken, I also learned all the martial arts that the Shaolin monks had to teach me. After that, I became the most deadly warrior on the planet. Soon after I learned everything from my martial arts teachers, I went to college, and I also enlisted in the military, and I became an army ranger, making my skills as a martial artist even more deadly. And right after all that, I joined S.H.I.E.L.D. and I met Natasha Romanoff, and I became her husband, and somehow my DNA was able to heal her womb and sexual reproductive organs when I had sex with Natasha Romanoff, otherwise known as Black Widow. We became so close that we were both inseparable, and me and Clint Barton even because best friends, and Nick Fury used me as his ultimate weapon for many years. I became Nick Fury's trump card because no one could beat me in a fight, and I even figured out a way to become rich on my MCU Earth. I became the owner of the internet store Temu, and I also own Amazon and Amazon Prime, making me one of the richest men on the planet. Because of this, me and Natasha Romanoff never had any problems even after we had 5 kids, and I was now having sex with Natasha Romanoff in our bedroom with the door locked, and she was now on top of me, riding me in the cowgirl position with her hands around my neck and throat again, and she was now strangling me a bit because she knows I like it. And then she suddenly moaned really loud, and then Natasha Romanoff had a massive orgasm, and her eyes rolled back and her mind broke as I gently embraced her with my strong muscular arms. I began massaging her beautiful body with oil, and I began giving her oral pleasure, and I swallowed her cum when she had a massive orgasm. And Natasha Romanoff and I always made love in every sexual position, and this happened almost every day because Natasha Romanoff truly loves me, and I feel the same. And honestly, I might not marry anyone else since I know that Natasha Romanoff is my soulmate in the MCU universe, and I love her very much. And then soon after, I met Carol Danvers, otherwise known as Captain Marvel, and I also had sex with her, and I also got her pregnant. So despite my feelings for Natasha Romanoff, I ended up in a polygamous marriage anyway, which is why I'm now searching for Tony Stark somewhere in Iraq, and I knew his exact location because I had seen all of the MCU movies in my previous life before I died. But since I'm a genius, I didn't let anyone in my world know that, and when I saw the ransom video from the 10 Rings terrorists in the first Iron Man movie, I identified Tony Stark's location anyway. Through sheer genius level intelligence, I'm literally a crime scene investigator with tons of forensic experience in the field. As the best detective in the world of Marvel, I was more than qualified to find Tony Stark and track down the terrorists, and it led us all to a cave where I helped save Tony Stark and Ho Yinsen. But by the time I got there, Tony Stark had already created his Mark 1 power armor, and I leveled up once again to Infinity Level 2 after I saved Tony Stark.